As a threat actor, I don't give two what you're using because my goal is to take it. It's like King of the Hill. I'm taking it. So you need to have the solutions that work, not the solutions that are convenient.
So, okay, I want to say welcome to the MSP Global podcast. And I'm glad this is a security podcast. So that's super nice to see that they're actually doing a security focused episode, right? So it's nice to see people talking more about security. Are they doing more about security? I guess we'll get to the bottom of that, I think, today. But let's start with the guests. So we have here Jesse Tuttle, we have Marcus Gregory, and Brook Lee. Before we get into anything else, can we, each of you, maybe starting with you, Jesse, just give a little introduction of yourself. Where do you work and what's your sort of connection to security? Just for the listeners.
Yeah, so my name's Jesse Tuttle. I'm a reformed threat actor, convicted hacker. I work for APT2 Labs as a content expert. And I travel around and I speak to MSPs and help them understand the threat actor mindset and the threats that are actually out there in the real world.
Brilliant.
I'm not nearly as cool as Jesse. My name is Brook Lee. I work for Lionguard. We're an attack surface management company. I've been in the MSP space since about 2009. Prior to that, I was internal IT. I'm an engineer. I'm a tech. And then I travel all over the world. I've been here for about 8 weeks on this particular run in Europe to talk to people about what our software does, and then specifically how can I help the MSP, because I've rebuilt hundreds of MSPs in my day. So there's pretty much nothing that I haven't seen at this point. So my job is to try to dig through the layers and figure out how I can help them solve problems.
Got it.
Hello. I've now got imposter syndrome. With such illustrious company, I'm now feeling rather inadequate.
I'm ahead of
Jesse's the cool kid in this group.
I'm ahead of marketing. It's like, you're good.
So what I've heard about you.
Look, my name is Marcus Gregory. I've been in IT since 1997. I've worked for both MSPs. I've worked for vendors. I've worked in New York. I've worked in London. I've worked in Madrid. I've worked in now in Barcelona. What I've currently been doing is working for cybersecurity companies in terms of opening up markets from a sales perspective. So at the minute, I'm working for an organization that has a solution to defend websites from various different types of attacks and various different types of undesired AI bots. I'm opening up the market for them here in Spain. I am actually British, but my mother's Spanish, so I speak both languages pretty well. I guess the key point, I think, I come from this, not the same background as Jesse. Jesse is way off the scale.
I don't right.
Yeah, I've worked for MSPs and I've worked for vendors, and I've worked at MSPs and I've had those tough conversations with the end user customer to try and pitch my solution to them or my service to them. And I kind of understand how difficult it is, and there's a lot of hype around it, and I think that's kind of what we're going to try and get into. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, that's okay. I think you're giving like a few good spoilers about like where we're basically heading. Yeah, a few words I think about myself as well. I'm a marketing guy, and I've worked for Patchstack, and we basically work in vulnerability management, specifically in WordPress. So also a lot of hackers. None of them have been convicted yet, and hopefully never will be. But great introduction to a company, and it's very trustworthy. But yeah, so I'm here representing Patchstack.
Awesome.
But so I do want to. So I was thinking how to start this. This sort of like, hype and marketing kind of thing. And I wanted to start with a story, right? So I'll start with the story. It's like, so we talked to a lot of let's say hosting providers about, vulnerability, security. And one thing we've kind of heard is like, people go like, oh, we don't worry about vulnerabilities. We got it covered. We're using a WAF, we're using a network level. Okay, Jesse's laughing. So that everybody's kind of like, okay. So, we have a WAF, we have a firewall. It's all good. We're not worried about vulnerabilities. And we went like, okay. So hold on one second, let me test that. And we actually we took 5 hosting providers with different security stacks, and we set up like honeypot websites basically on their servers. We did some pen testing, ran some, commonly known exploited vulnerabilities against each of them, I think 10 or 11 vulnerabilities. What we found was that 88% of these attacks went through completely undetected before being, stopped sort of at our layer, right? So we took it to them. We didn't name or shame anybody. We just went like, by the way, it's like, so about the thing you were saying about being protected. So here's the numbers. So that was a few interesting conversations there. But, we found out that was like, a lot of people were saying that, yes, we have security. We're offering proactive security. We know what vulnerabilities are. We're defending against them. But the reality was a bit different. So my question to you is, and this is like, I guess, a provocative question, or maybe not, is do you, from your point of view, how much of, let's say, cybersecurity today that's provided is more about marketing than it is about actually doing something and actually protecting people? So maybe Jesse, you want to start, or?
Oh, so I don't know. I don't necessarily work for a security vendor. I do awareness training. So APT2 Labs does awareness training. And so my view might be a little bit different than what their answer is going to be. I think that most of it is marketing. I don't see many security products that meet all the needs. It's very hard, if not impossible, to come up with a security product that can check every single box. And then when you're layering multiple products, that creates a good layered defense, but it also opens up complications of compatibility.
Yeah.
So there is in my opinion, a lot of marketing based around it. But there is exceptional security companies out there.
So I think kind of like consolidation is not the way to go, because we hear a lot about consolidation. It's like we need one big suit that does everything, invest a ton of money in it, and then
I think that is a bad approach.
I agree, 100%.
You cannot have, I use the term, you cannot have the prisoners checking the bars. I think you have to have a layered security approach. I think it has to be that way because, again, it's from an MSP's perspective, it's much easier, especially if as an MSP, we generally do like help desk, we do troubleshooting, we do things like that. Security is very niche, but it is required. But those people are really, really expensive. An MSP normally does not have, of an average size, 20 to 30 people, they are not going to be able to afford one person to just do security only. So 9 times out of 10, we are partnering with other vendors in the space to be able to help us come up with that layered approach. I can put all my eggs in one basket. It's easier for billing. It's easier for messaging. It's easier to manage, monitor, and maintain. But now all my eggs are in one basket. If something happens to that one guy, then I am toast for the rest of the time versus having a layered approach with different people. But the security vendors that are in the space, again, there's a lot of them that are out there, but you need to analyze what it is that you need. And that's why you have to partner with the right people, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. When you need a security stack for your MSP that you are going to then in turn deliver to your clients, if you don't understand it backward and forward, how am I going to sell that to my clients? Because a lot of times we talk about this marketing fluff and people like to put stuff on their websites. But at the end of the day, I'm asking the questions, do you know what it takes to implement security X for your client? Your MSP can sell it, but Jesse has an accounting firm. If we implement the security stack at Jesse's accounting firm, do we know what we are going to be asking those people to do on a daily basis? Because a lot of times we are going to change the way that they work. And again, you put these things on your website, it's the marketing, it's the fluff, it's the whatever, but really, do you know what you're asking your clients to do? And do you know that it's going to cover all of those layers? That's why I think it's really, really important that you have to partner with people that are transparent in what they do and what they don't do. Because to Jesse's point, there's very few people that do it all, which is why you have to have that layered approach, again, for a couple of different reasons. But to have them be transparent on what they don't do. And then again, finding people to fill those gaps. And then you have to get those people to work together, or at least get the solutions to work together. So that's more of the compatibility question. How does everything intertwine so that you then create this layer or dome that's going to be able to take care of everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus, you want to add anything to that? Or does anybody have like any stories of similar stories where you meet somebody and go like, we got this. It's okay.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
What's the worst? What's been the...
Wait, well, if I don't mind, I just want to share something. So there's that, I think there's this huge, the compatibility of understanding how the office works, but so many people are looking to find what's convenient for them.
Versus
and I think
what's best.
Versus what's best, yeah. Because I'm going to tell you, as a threat actor, I don't give two
flips.
Thank you. I was told to watch my language. Sometimes I have to sign disclaimers. Okay.
Fine.
I don't give two what you're using, because my goal is to take it. It's like King of the Hill. I'm taking it. So you need to have the solutions that work, not the solutions that are convenient. If those solutions are convenient, it's a great thing.
But you guys always go for the easiest. What's easiest for you to get in? So if I have a layered approach and I'm making Jesse and his hacker dudes and girls dig through 17 layers, that is, again, a part of this is this is a business case. What is efficient and effective for me to be able to hack? One of my favorite hacks, and I'm not going to use any name, is when one hacker hacked into an RMM product. That RMM product at the very highest level then infiltrated all of the MSPs that had that product. Then it went down and infiltrated all of their clients. And again, I am not a hacker at all, but it was efficient and effective. I got in one thing and then went to millions underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
So those hackers, they don't want to pick on a company that has 17 layers to go through. They want to pick on the company that has 3. And those are always the people that think that it cannot happen to me, but they are very efficient and effective. If they can hack 100 people in a day that are super small and super easy, they've still made the money. They still made the money or whatever it is they're trying to accomplish.
Why would someone, I mean, my crime was that of curiosity. It wasn't financially motivated, but why would I target someone to try and make $100,000 versus targeting 10 people to collect 10,000? Because $100,000, I'm going to attract a lot more law enforcement attention. I'm going to attract a lot more problems.
And he's going to Taco Bell after him. We're going to have snacks because he's done by noon and we're finished.
Much easier. Take the candy. It's easy to take candy from an adult because they think they're secure. They're not paying attention. And you just take that little bit of candy. You don't have to take it all.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey,
you pick the low-hanging fruit.
All day long.
Stuff that's easy.
I mean, that's vulnerability exploits, right? So it's like, you just troll the internet and see whatever ends up in the net, and all of that can be monetized like one way or another. Yeah. Before I do want to ask about like, how to sort of sell security also to like, the big players, maybe hosting companies, so on and so forth. Marcus, do you have anything you wanted to add maybe to the?
Yeah, I mean, I've listened intently to what you both had to say, and you're both absolutely right. You're both coming at it from different perspectives. And I'm coming at this from another perspective. So I'm going to try and, if I try and elevate myself out of that sort of, those glasses that don't allow me to see things properly. If I take the elevated view of it, and going back to the original question,
yeah,
is it marketing? Is it hype? Is it, quite frankly, and I've got to be careful because I work for a vendor. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of hype. We as vendors are quite often responsible for being the root cause of all of that hype, for all of that marketing bump. We want to spit out a message to the MSPs who then want to spit it out to the end user customer, who are then going to be tested by Jesse, who's going to say, you're talking a whole damn load of rubbish, or whatever, or however he wants it to put it. And the root cause of a lot of this hype is quite often organizations that I have worked for, that I do work for. We come out with the message, yeah, we are the best, we do this, we do the most, etc., etc. I'm a sales guy. That sort of messaging is just there to try and attract lead generation, understanding the opportunity, and quite often, this is something that I was very, very. This was a lesson to me many years ago, probably 20 years ago. You're quite often generating the opportunity yourself. Security is an emotion. It's a perception. Do I feel secure walking down that street at 9 o'clock at night? Yeah, I feel great. Do I feel secure walking down the same street at 4 a.m. On a Saturday night? Of course I don't. It's all about, where am I going with this? What I'm trying to say is, yeah, the root cause is a lot of marketing rubbish that gets spat out that tries to generate opportunities where sometimes it doesn't actually exist. We sometimes generate fear, and we push something down somebody's throat to buy something that they don't necessarily need. Jesse's probably the right guy to tell somebody what they need to buy, and that layered approach, whether it's a good one or whether it's a bad one. I work for one organization. I don't represent anybody else. But if I'm really honest with myself when I'm talking to customers, look, I can do 5% of what you need. There's another 20% that another organization needs. It has to be a layered approach. We are responsible for a lot of marketing. We are responsible for a lot of fear-mongering. But I'm not going to change that. And nobody's going to change it. You just got to be able to cut through it and take the bits you need.
Yeah. Is it okay to use fear, though?
Because I do not. I absolutely cannot stand that.
Yeah.
Your role as an MSP for your clients is to sell safety and security and resilience and making sure that they are able to recover should the most awful thing happen. If you sell with fear, I promise you I will go right in behind that MSP and I will win that account and you will not, because people don't like being scared. They see stuff on the internet all the time. It's already inundated out there with this fear mongering and everything else. My job is to come in and be the voice of calm and sell the safety. My job is not to sell security. My job is to sell what my MSP can provide to you holistically as a company, and how we are going to take care of you, your people, your data, your products, everything else. If you are selling fear, you will die the way of the dinosaur. It does not work that way anymore, because there's so much stuff out there. Anybody can read anything. Stuff is out there all over the internet. I mean, you can Google it. You can find stuff that Jesse's done. Any of these guys can done. That's already out there. My job is to calm the seas, make sure we understand what we're doing. And I do not think you should sell security. You sell a solution. You sell comfort. I'm going to take care of you. And honestly, the clients don't give two what we used to do so. So when people go down and they start line iteming stuff, and I use this product and I use that, your clients don't know, and they don't care. They want to know, do you have me taken care of? It's my job to figure out what layer I'm going to use, what product I'm going to use to help them be safe and secure. They don't need to know, and they don't want to know. So in my opinion, I don't think you really sell security. You sell safety, you sell calm, you sell resilience.
If I can just add something to this, I spent many years working in the London insurance market. And I've drawn a lot of information from that, and a lot of things that I learned in that area have really helped me. The estimated probability of something happening is all about risk management, insurers and under. So yeah, everything you're saying is absolutely correct. The key point to make, I think, to an end user is, how much risk are you prepared to take on? How are you going to minimize that risk? What can I do to minimize your risk?
But how can I mitigate that risk for you? What is their appetite for the risk? And I think a lot of that, part of our job is to talk about what is going to happen, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I lived in Savannah, Georgia for a long period of time. We had a very small client. Savannah's a small town. It's probably, 100, 200,000 people, maybe. And we had a small client, and they were produce distribution for various restaurants. We're a very tourism-driven industry. And they had been with us a very long time, long before I joined the MSP. We were all a legacy partner. And they were kind of like dragging their feet. We don't need it, blah, blah, blah. Lo and behold, they got hacked. Their claim to fame is we deliver fresh products, fresh everything all the time. Number one, they lost all of their data, so they don't know what orders need to go where. The hack also hacked into their freezer system, so they lost all of their product that they literally changed everything. So they were down for, I would say, 7 days. That they were like this close of being bankrupt and out of business. And they're a large employer there. They probably have, 100, 200 employees, and in a town my size, that's decent. They were family owned. Everybody knew them. So again, that's you think that it can't happen to you. It 100% can happen. And when it does, again, then you're in a really bad spot. So it's about, what is your appetite for risk? So that's why whenever I talk to MSPs or to the MSPs clients, how long can you afford to be down without any of the things how long can your business survive in that state? And then that's when I think you because I have some manufacturing clients that downtime is literally next to zero. So they are willing to pay whatever it takes to make sure that they are up. Again, not realistically, but 100% of the time. So they have no appetite at all for that risk.
Right. So I was actually going to ask, it's maybe from Marcus, especially starting with you, because it's you are a sales guy, right? So that's really
the guys
here
to hate.
Yes. Well,
Thanks.
But marketing here, it's we're both of us.
Yeah.
So, but in your experience, what's, let's say, enterprise level, or a hosting company level, or bigger client level, or regular. It's what's driving cybersecurity budgets in your opinion? Is it fear? Is it compliance? Is it some actual strategy behind security, or is it board pressures?
I think that's something that's changing, and it's changing drastically. The fear for non-being compliant is increasing in the perception of a CISO. The fear of not being able to complete the regulatory compliance, particularly here in Europe. I don't know if you're up on this, but NIS2, for example, it's coming in. It's already coming. It came in on the 17th of October, 2023. It's been implemented now in EU states. The first iteration was 17th of October, 24. Now we're getting more and more versions of it. We're on version 1.1 or 1.2 or whatever it is. There's going to be a 1.6. There's going to be a 2.5. There's going to be a 3.8. Every time. I say the intentions are great. The intentions are good. But what essentially governments are trying to do and regulation is trying to do is make people responsible for their own cybersecurity, and that pressure is becoming greater and greater. That, I think, is becoming almost, it will get to a point, absolutely for sure, where the risk of being non-compliant is actually greater than the risk of being hacked that is the current trend. If it keeps going in that way, it will get to that point. So that's important to take into consideration. I think the things that you probably are more aware of, and Jesse, yourself, what is actual, what is the risk? What is the genuine risk? There's a fear of being non-compliant. But what is what is the perception? What is the fear of actually something going wrong? And like you said as well, the estimated probability of risk being 0 is not achievable at any point. Is it 20%? Is it 30%? Is it 40%? Okay, you can calculate it. Large enterprises need to make that calculation, but what they then need to do, that's proactive security. Post-event security is the key. In the London insurance market, you had to report to the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. NIS2 is nothing new. The FCA used to oblige people to do some of these things 20 years ago. The world was a very different place. We didn't have iPhones, etc. Cybersecurity was very, very different, but it still happened, and people still had to guard against it. And that regulation was much more stringent than any of the regulations that's coming through in this too, in my opinion. I don't know if I've gone slightly off on topic. I probably have.
Yeah,
you guys.
So actually, this question, the previous you all were talking about, it comes back to everyone always asks me, like, how secure really am I? And I tell everyone, I said, hey, it's on a scale of 99 to 1 to 99. You're always looking to do risk reduction. Every step you're taking, it's nothing but risk reduction. And that's the goal. There will be things you do that increase your risk. You then have to balance that out and reduce it again. And I think that compliance, the whole push forward on compliance is to set that base level line of, hey, we've marked these. But the unfortunate thing is, since we just brought up compliance, is that everyone thinks that, hey, once I do this compliance, I get my certification, the boxes are checked, I'm good. I'm at the gold standard. And they don't, yeah, exactly. They don't realize that is the start of the journey.
Yes, sir.
The journey starts when you get your check, when the checkbox happens, the seal, the paper, whatever you get. That's the start of the journey.
That's the project. To get compliant, then you need a program that goes on for infinity.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the biggest hazards I personally see. And it's a false sense of compliance is great because it's setting a baseline and it's getting that conversation started.
Yeah.
Because there's too many people and too many companies that go, well, I don't need it. It'll never happen to me. Okay. Well, now let's flip it. What about when audits come? Or what about when you want insurance, cyber insurance, you want a bank loan, you want to work with this other business? They need to see that you're compliant.
I think that's missed a lot is clients of MSPs. They're like, oh, well, I don't really have it because every business in the US does not have to adhere to a compliance framework currently. You don't have to. It depends on what sort of vertical. We recommend some, but a lot of them, they're not currently, the government does not regulate them to be under some sort of framework.
Right.
But I'm like, do your clients know that you don't want to adhere to anything, that you're just going to do, Bob and Joe's compliance like 101 and that's going to be good enough for your clients? It's not. And then that journey that we're talking about, because again, the project is to get you the checkbox. The program is what continues. But I think that's on the MSP community and the people and marketing and sales to properly explain that this is a journey we are on together. It is not something that we are using to constantly ask you for another dollar. This is something that we have to do to ensure that you are safe, again, for infinity. This is the first step, which is the check, but then this just keeps going on. But we have to have better messaging and better conversations, and the conversations have to be continuous. Talking to your client once a year when you're asking for the check to get compliant, I need you to write me a check so I can do this. That is not enough.
Yeah. But Cyber Resilience Act, that's another actually piece of legislation that's coming up in Europe. But that's going to come with, it's not just compliance. There's things you have to do to be compliant with it. But that comes with a risk of massive fines, sort of GDPR level. That's a bit different? Or could that bring about some paradigm shift of how people think about?
The fines have been out there for especially in the HIPAA space. You can get fined into oblivion. So, and it still doesn't seem sometimes enough to get people to do what they need to do, even with the fines and the backing. And again, that's why I think we talked about the marketing and the fluff and the whatever, but I also think that there is a place for that because it's important, because that's what we have to do to be able to again, deliver those messages to our clients and their clients so that we all understand the why behind it. If I can tell you the why and what it is we're trying to accomplish together, and that's another thing I don't think we do a great job at, is that we're in this together. Because if something happens to you, then it happens to me. Because now I'm known as the MSP that Jesse's accounting firm got hacked from. No accounts are going to work with me ever. Because now the word is out.
I love how the convicted hacker has the accounting firm.
That was intentional.
Well, you know what you're
You'll have
doing,
the
and
most
that's
safe accounting firm. Nobody's
Hey.
getting into you, buddy.
Hey, I collect crypto, any cards, checks, bank accounts, EBT. I'll take it all.
so there's
Hold
one.
on. I wanted to just jump on there. Something significant just happened this week, and I think it lends into what we're talking about. And most MSPs probably have not made this connection, especially their clients, because their clients look and they go, "Hey, I need to be held accountable to HIPAA or even FERPA for higher education." There's so many small mom and pop 1 and 2 person businesses in the US
And they think
that's accountable to like FTC safeguards. If I pay, let's say you have a company, a referral company, you send me, referrals and I give you money for that. Now I'm a financial firm. I have to comply by FTC safeguards. There's all sorts of these little things. So many more companies need a compliance than even aware of it. But then they come in and they get the compliance, or they're looking like SOC 2. And here's going to be my drive is that SOC 2 has, and this take this for whatever the framework may be. They have an availability factor. If there's a single point of failure that violates SOC 2, so how can you get SOC 2 compliance? Do we not know of all these platforms that just went down this week because of AWS? Is an AWS SOC 2 so that, oh, wait a minute. It's a false sense of stability. It's a false sense of security, all because the auditors, the people that write the compliance aren't necessarily, and they're not people properly educating. How is AWS SOC 2 compliant, or anyone at all on AWS? Sorry, Amazon, I do love you. More than 400 orders last year. But no,
They love to throw that on their website. We were talking about the marketing, and do we just like put stuff up there to put stuff there? The number of websites that you look on for MSPs and large companies, and I'm SOC 2 Type 2, and I'm this, and I'm that, and you see all the cool logos and acronyms and everything, and then this, and I'm like, so how did you get that if this is what happened?
yeah.
My favorite. I've seen products designed with Lovable, and they have the SOC 2 like badge somewhere and where they are. I don't think that's true. I don't think I'll okay with it to make this.
Yeah.
But
Jesse's accounting firm.
I see. Now it's coming.
We take your
crypto. That checks out. But I mean, okay, so one thing, so let's say there is a lot of like this false sense of security. There's a lot of the marketing. There's a lot of buzzwords. But so if we had to drop all of that, like, what would you recommend somebody? Like, how would you recommend somebody to build a robust security strategy? Like, you came in as a consultant, let's say MSPs. Like, if you had to give them a textbook of this is what you need to have a robust security program, what would you say? Like, what would they need to build? No buzzwords.
That'd be, I think.
So I'm going to tell you, I think this is not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
I don't think there's, just like an MSP does not deliver the same solution to any of their clients. I think every MSP has something that's going to be a little bit different. Certain MSPs have certain verticals. There's a bunch that I talked to here today. They have education verticals. I don't know what the certifications, what the roadmaps, what the adherence look like for education. So I would, as a consultant, I would need to go research and find that. Again, for me, I think the biggest thing to do is you have to have a layered approach, and you have to vet the vendors that you're going to work with, and they have to be transparent. And you need to specifically, like Lionguard, for example, somebody's like, "Hey, Brook, I want to know what your security stance is. What is your security compliance?" I immediately ring up my CISO guy, and we send out some documentation. They got to sign some NDAs. We send them the stuff. Again, it doesn't bother me at all. You want to see it, we'll make sure you get the stuff that you need. If you ask those questions and they don't want to give you those things, you literally turn right. Otherwise,
Walk
Jesse's
fast.
taking your crypto stuff again.
Walk fast.
again, if they don't want to share that information and be upfront with you, then again, I think you need to keep looking. But I think because security is so different than a lot of things we want them to be interconnected, security has to be layered in order, again, to make sure that one person's not covering everything. Because when one person covers everything, then they're covering nothing because you don't have anybody checking
Kind of a single
behind.
point of failure.
Exactly. It's again, for like that RMN example, it's just, there's one way to get in and you got in that one thing and now it's just mushroom clouded underneath you versus having a layered approach. And then there's a lot of vendors, to Jesse's point earlier, is, I do this one thing really well. Okay, that's one part of the layer. But at an MSP, if you don't have somebody, again, that's where you've really got to partner with people to do, because not a lot of people at this, what I would consider smaller to mid-size MSPs, they don't have that person on staff. I mean, I've got I may have a NOC or a SOC, team, and maybe I got a couple of Army people, but like that really super keep Jesse out type security stuff, we don't have those people. That's why those partnerships, in my opinion, are super critical.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it's important that MSPs have those partners. I mean, Lionguard, you have an amazing product. I've looked at it. And I believe, Blackwall, you work with websites and web infrastructure, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Both, I mean,
And it's another layer,
yeah,
because
two
we don't
different
do that, but
layers.
they do that. You've got to have all these different people to make it work.
yeah, you do, because I mean, I can enter in through the user's click and it goes through the system. My specialty as a hacker when I started out was hacking websites, web apps, FTP servers, going through the web. That's exactly where Marcus comes
That's
in.
Marcus's house.
That's his wheelhouse. And so you need that layered approach, and you need companies like these and experts like these that come in and build that layer approach. Then you need someone like me that comes in that has the opposite view, but understands both of those. And then I look and I go, awesome. How am I going to take it via the web? How am I going to take it via a user click? How am I going to take this from a walk-in, drop a rubber ducky? What am I going to do with my Wi-Fi pineapple? Is there anything here for a flipper zero? I mean, these are just little toy gadgets. But what scripts, what am I going to write that is going to, look for an SQL injection or, whatever else, start ripping apart the APIs and brute force testing. And is their tools going to stop that? And is the system configuration set right and so forth? And that's where Lionguard comes in and just balancing these things out. And I mean, these are two vendors, and I'm not a vendor in the space, so I can say this though. They're two vendors, but you need to look at these vendors and say, hey, what stacks where, and how do I build that layer approach from both ends?
Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, I fully agree. Is there anybody here that, disagrees with the layered approach? I don't probably think so. That's
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I have talked to so many MSPs that go, well, I don't necessarily need a layer approach. I have a really good security vendor.
Yeah.
I use products from blank, and they told me I'm covered. Well, I'm like, how much have you validated that?
That's why I think you have to be really critical on the testing. So when you're going to get these validations and certifications, making sure somebody other than the guy or girl that sold you the software.
But it's very hard to validate if you don't have a security person on staff or like somebody who knows what they're doing, right? So it's very easy again to like.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you need to partner with people, because even though we have like the project to get compliant or to adhere to the framework or get the checkbox, we still have the program that can continues. And again, Jesse, I need him 3 times a year to do the checking once we get implemented for client X, but I still need him those 3 times a year. I'm not paying Jesse all year long, but I still need to retain him, and he's my person. But again, he helps me 3 times a year. He helps Marcus 3 times a year. He helps Bobby 3 times a year. But again, we have to have that sort of outside person that is not with all of the layers, because who else is going to test the layers? You want me to test Marcus's layer? Marcus is going to test mine. That also doesn't work.
Not their wheelhouse.
I mean, that's where like the serious pen testing is like the minimum. But I mean, it's like that's where you sort of have that where you have somebody that's, again, a person like Jesse that does what he does to check through all of those layers. Because I mean, we can't check each other. That doesn't work either.
There's one other little layer. There's it's the human layer. So that's always a fun.
Weakest link.
Yes, the weakest link.
Can't keep them from clicking on that doggone email link.
They
want
really
something.
want that. They just want to click on that.
Now you're in my wheelhouse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is like a weird question, but like, should MSPs take any responsibility there to like, go to their clients and say like, okay, we've got all these things, we've got these layers, this protects that, this does this, you have a complex system. Can you please
education
add 2FA?
No, 2FA is pay to play now. If you don't have 2FA, I would know MSPs that will not take you on as a client. I would not take you on.
No.
I mean, that's like literally the bare minimum. But the other is education.
Yeah.
You have to constantly educate, because the users, that's where, again, the user is the weakest link. I can put 27 layers in. I can spend the most money, but all it takes
Click.
is one person to think they won
Click.
the Amazon gift card, and we click, and then
Phone
Jesse's
call.
just like, zhook, and we're done.
Dude, and here's
The one in Vegas, what was that? 2-3
MGM and Caesar.
Yes.
Dude, that was
That
Scattered
was-
Spider. Oh,
it was
and they're
one
not even
person.
technical. You really, so here's what
But you had a hacker convention the week before in Vegas.
DEF CON.
What did y'all think was going to happen? the week before?
They're all there.
There's a reason
Exactly.
DEF CON doesn't happen at Caesar anymore. I don't know, but I wasn't at that DEF CON. I had friends there, but Scattered Spider, they're not a technical group. They're social engineers. They email you, they call your help desk and talk you out of your credentials.
It literally, again, that was the
exactly.
end user. So that's why you've got to have, again, we can put all the layers in, but part of our job is the vendor is to educate the MSP, give them the information they need. But that's part of that. You get the checkbox, but that program has to include education of your clients. And it cannot be overstated, because again, all it takes is one person. One person in Vegas took down, what was it, the 5 casino suites? I mean, there was like one of them, they were getting paper checks for 3 weeks because they could not access their system. You could not get in an elevator and ride up by yourself because everything is key card driven. It went on for weeks.
Right.
And it was one person, one end user that caused the problem.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, we were talking about this yesterday on stage, and I'll be talking about it later today as well, is that, you have all this web application, web filtering, network controls, you need endpoint security, but the biggest hole that still sits is beyond just endpoint security is that human training. And that's where I've been working for the last 2 years, is specializing in helping elevate that with MSPs, because it's the click, but it's more than that. It is the phone call. It's the text message. It's the, what are you posting on social media? It is, what are you putting
And
out
it's
there?
way more sophisticated. I mean, back in the day, you could pick out those emails like nobody. Now it is next to I had a tier 3 engineer. We did we were using a particular application and they sent out those emails. One of our tier 3 engineers clicked on the link.
And here's
Again, it's very sophisticated. It is not what it used to be.
and here's one of the big things.
I mean, here's the solution. Don't read your emails. That's why I don't answer calls. I just go, I don't even know. I use
When
the phone.
Marcus has 2,767 unread emails in his
That's the
box.
best security layer. Just the sheer willpower to not read emails. But I actually wanted to.
Here's a thought for you before we move on.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that's being said. A good MSP, all good MSPs, I think should be doing, for their end user customers, they should be doing that risk, and we've kind of inferred it around it. You should be doing a risk analysis for your end user customer in terms of understanding what exactly their environment looks like, understanding where the vulnerabilities are. Within that vulnerability assessment, the end user fits highly within it. The MSP should be able to identify that and elevate it as a risk when they do their risk. MSPs that do risk analysis for end users are very, very few and far between. They should be doing more of it, and they should be putting an honest paper. It's a consultancy piece of work. They should be putting an honest piece of paper in front of somebody to say, this is your environment, these are your risks, these are the areas where you can improve. And that, good MSP should be able to contrast it against their current portfolio of services, which should contain as many vendors as possible so they can pick and choose the right solution for the end user. Think about it this way. I was thinking earlier on, it's like being an operating theater. You wouldn't want to go in with 10 surgeons. You've got to go with an anesthetist. You've got to go with 2 surgeons. You've got to go with somebody. Everybody's got a specialty. Everybody's got a specialism. But the sum total of all of those parts should be able to reduce the risk for a large enterprise, as long as you do the risk analysis right in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
And to draw on that, I think it's what I've seen from MSPs, if you're specializing in a vertical like dentist office, and you can take the same stack and cookie cutter it, copy and paste it to every one of your clients, because most every dentist office, for the most part, anywhere in the world, hopefully, operates the same. My first time outside the US, so I'm assuming. But I'm still surprised that another country let me visit.
Me too, bro.
I literally got a baggie of dirt just to prove I've touched
You gotta
forts.
get out first as well. You gotta get
You
back
got to get
there
back
as well.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocked you're here.
Gosh, I tried to visit a foreign country once before. That didn't go well. I was turned away. Then U.S. Customs, that was crazy. But I totally forgot where I was headed with that.
Wait, you were talking about dentist and
Oh yeah. So
cutting.
you cookie cutter that same process.
Yeah.
But the moment that you have a client in another industry, another like something little changes,
Yeah.
that cookie cutter mold doesn't work anymore. And you need to have that vendor stack that your trusted partners that you can go to and say, hey, here's this client I'm working with. Would your solution be the best fit? And maybe interview one or two of those trusted partners and find what fits best. Because
Find the person that will tell you no.
yeah,
There's a ton of people that will come and talk to me and say, hey, Brooke, I need X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. However, that is not what we do. But I know Marcus. Let me walk over to Marcus's booth, make an introduction, explain to Marcus what you got going on, because I think what he has is going to fix the solution. And I think that is a problem in our space. We have too many people that are unwilling to say, this is not me. This is a Marcus thing. This is a Jesse thing. Let me take you to that person and get them to help you fix what this problem is that you have.
We get asked so many times, it's like, can your plugin be like a malware scanner? We're like, no, first of all, a plugin shouldn't be a malware scanner. And secondly, also no. So it's just not going to happen because it's like,
vendors need to be able to start recommending clients to their competitors when it's a better fit, because you need to think about what the end user, their needs, and stop worrying about how do I make my sales, my quotas. They will come because when you honor that person properly, and a malware scanner is a great example there, because there's a lot of malware scanners. There's a lot of security audit tools, but they do work differently and understand what's going to be the best fit.
The problem there though, Jesse, is that most MSPs and most vendors have got people like me, salespeople that are never going to want to walk away from a deal with that honest approach to say, look, my solution can do 60% of what you need, but I'm not going to cover it all. I'm going to take a step back because we're so sales driven.
Yeah. So I have one more question because I'm slowly starting to run out of time, but I really need to ask, and I wanted to ask you this, Marcus, because it's does security have to have an ROI at all times, or can it have an ROI? Can it be, because we talk to sometimes hosting companies and they go like, this is great, but how do I make money out of this? Because that's like my kind of like, because you get to the CFO and they go like, great, but where does the money come back? But does it have to come back, or can it come back? Like, so everybody wins.
Well, I was thinking about this and I think I've got the answer. So no,
Do tell.
security does not have a return on investment. There is never going to be a return.
And we're going to do the golf clap.
Absolutely none. I don't know how it works so I was born in the UK. Let me tell you this little thing. So in the UK, when you get a driving license, you have 0 points.
Yeah.
If you start messing around, screwing up, jumping some red lights, blah, 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 for every infraction, you start getting points.
Same.
Okay, in Spain, it's the opposite damn way around. In Spain, you get a driving license and you got 14 points. If you start screwing up, you start losing points. When you get to 0, that's when they take the license away from you. Now, let's think of ROI in those terms. ROI is never going to give you any additional points. You're only ever going to lose points. If you haven't made the right investment in your security, and you start having breaches, you start having the lady in room 21 has pressed a couple of clicks, phishing, blah, 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 blah. There is no return on investment. There is only a negative minus cost that you're going to have to face. If we look at it in those terms, and forget that term ROI because I don't quite like it.
I don't either.
Marketing.
You heard it here first. The person said they don't like the term ROI.
I don't like it.
I like
just want to point that out.
Marketing people try to use it. Oh, what's the ROI on the event that we've just sponsored? Well, we were there. What do you want? Oh, God. Anyway, how many leads did you get? I don't know. I spoke to thousands of people. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, this is the thing. This is what I was thinking about when I was bored the other day, and I was thinking about the questions that we were going to talk about here. It's not an ROI. You start messing up and you don't have your security right, and you haven't got the layered approach, and you haven't done your risk analysis, and you haven't tested it, and you don't test it periodically, you're going to start losing points, and very rapidly you're going to be a minus 15, and you're going to lose your license. That's the only way I can describe it.
So ROI for the MSP, it's the money that you're going to make is going to be the negative, because I want to spend as much time as humanly possible left of boom than I do right.
Yeah.
If I invest in the left, I will save myself exponentially hours, money, time, everything, that if I'm on the right. If I'm on the right, you are toast. You are going to spend hours and hours digging out of stuff. That is money. That hits your bottom line. I am spending time on things. I am no longer doing projects. I'm no longer doing things that are extra, that are not included, that I'm able to make money on for my client, because I'm spending all of my time on the left side. Because once you get to the right, it's extremely expensive. So the ROI is, I want to invest on the left for me and for my clients so that I don't end up there, or I do everything as I possibly can to try to not end up on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to help a lot of the MSPs that ask me this question, I get asked this almost every week by an MSP, and they're too embarrassed to ask other people, what is left of boom and right of boom? So I'm going to cover that real quick. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people in tech and MSPs that don't know. Boom is the incident. Right of boom is after incident. Left of boom is pre-incident. You want to spend your time left of boom, and that's where you want to spend your money, so you don't have the incident where you end up right of boom.
You want to invest.
Yeah.
Invest. That's where your ROI is, on the left side. That's where I'm doing everything possible to try and prevent something from happening. Because when you go to the right, everything that you thought you were going to have, it's so much more expensive, because then not only have I got to clean up the mess, I am going to have to go get other people like Jesse. And once I've already gone right, his price goes up exponentially.
Yeah.
If I'm asking who, hey, make sure I got my layered approach, make sure this, he's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. Because once the boom happens, I have to have action immediately. And to get him or someone else immediately, it's extremely expensive.
Yes, it is.
I mean, insurance is a bit of an analogy here. Like, so that's you're investing in that. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I suppose it still happens, but then
And everybody keeps
Easily
thinking,
see the ROI on insurance because you have an accident and then they're paying it on, and you're like, hey, thankfully I pay my monthly premium or yearly premium. But for cyber, I think one of the ways, and I don't know, this is an idea I've been exploring, is, showing logs of like, hey, there was this many people in your organization that clicked that our tool stopped, these clicks or these things. Maybe that's a way to show ROI, but I don't know. I don't have the sales mindset. I'm not smart like that.
yeah. I mean,
but we're all going to agree with Marcus. Nobody likes
Yeah.
ROI.
Yeah, I love Marcus for that.
Same.
well, I beg to differ. But I'll be the one, the other guy. But because we're almost at time, but I wanted to actually completely shift.
Okay.
Something completely different, like a bit of a way broader question. But so, obviously AI, love that term, nobody's sick of that. I got eyes rolling already, but it is like, it's so, security companies are using it. Hackers are using it, I mean, yeah, hackers, I guess, good and bad hackers. But broad question, AI arms race, who's winning? Good guys or bad guys?
Right now, honestly, I think it's the bad guys.
China.
That's just a sensation.
Yeah, because it's made them, again, they were already pretty efficient anyway. I think it's made them more efficient, and they are able to spider web so much more quickly. And again, they were already ahead of the curve because they're hackers. They know how to get into one point of entry. And again, that spider webs down, mushroom clouds, whatever you want to call it. Now that they have tools to help them do that, I mean,
I'm going to tell you, definitely by far, threat actors, foreign nation state actors, North Korea, China, Russia, any of these countries that's, trying to get their competitive advantage. And here's the reason is I think we're too busy looking to say, hey, how do we tone down AI? How do we filter? How do we moderate AI? I truly think the answer, of course, this is the bad guy side of me coming out, is needs to be unleashed, because China is definitely beating the world in almost everything AI related. And do you think they're sitting there telling their military units, their government, the companies that are integrating with their AIs to say, hey, tone it down, moderate it, build in these filters? No, not at all. Do you think that threat actors that are building dark web or AI services, I get to play with some of them, and do you think they're toned down? Hell no. But you go to ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever the Claude, and you're getting a toned down, politically correct, soothing version. And that's where, a lot of people in modern world and Western world, that's the AI they think of. And then we're always talking about like how to make things politically correct, how to make it comforting, how to not upset people, and how to not weaponize it. And in reality, it's everyone else is looking to weaponize it. Everyone else is looking to how to do this. And those people will always win in my opinion, until we take the handcuffs off of society and say, hey, here's technology, here's your freedom, and chat with it, work with it, use it, don't do bad things. You got to know that, and I learned this through a whole big legal process, you only have the right to swing your fist where the other person's nose begins. But if I don't have the availability to even stretch and understand my capabilities as a human, or, in tech, how do I ever learn the limits? How do I learn what's capable while everyone else is doing it?
Brook, Marcus, do you want to add anything? That's I'll rephrase it a little bit also, that what's like a problem that's going to be a problem in 2030 that's not a problem right now? Just a flash answer if you had to put anything.
So I think the unleashing of the AI, there are environmental issues with AI that we have not considered, and some of those resources are finite. We have to figure out how to figure that out. I don't have the answer. I don't know, but there are minerals that there's only a certain number, there's only a certain amount. You get what you get and then it's gone. Water is a big issue. We have a lot of data centers in the state that I lived in Georgia, and now there's people that don't have water because it takes water to cool the data centers. That is what pushes the AI. So I agree that we have to get better out of it, but we have to figure out some way to manage the limited resources that is required. Because again, at the end of the day, it seems so simple, but you have to have water to cool the supercomputers. And if we don't have water, where are we going to get water from? We need certain, minerals. We need certain things to be able to build some of these supercomputers. It's finite. Once the mine is gone, where are we going to come up with this stuff from?
Yeah, logistics, right? So, yeah. Marcus, you want to?
Yeah, I mean, how far do you want to go in answering the question? I mean,
what can you answer in 1 minute?
I mean, everything that's been said so far is correct. If you want to broaden, if you want to extrapolate it out, we're up to 10 billion inhabitants. We're going to use all the resources up. We're not going to be around in another 400 years, maybe anyway. So, yeah. But getting back, I'm being frivolous. Getting back onto the AI piece, I think it is being used for more bad than good right now. And I think that's a concern. Is the answer to completely unleash it? Probably not in the short term, because we will see a spike of even more bad.
Yeah.
Will it level itself off? I don't know. It should do. Will it actually do it? I don't know. I think as it stands right now, AI it's got all the potential, but it doesn't do its homework. It is in theory something fantastic for humanity, to make us more comfortable, to make things easier. But I think we're going to have other challenges, environmental ones, wars, etc. And it is being used in a negative way right now. I think my overriding sensation is that AI is not good for us. What the solution is, I don't know.
Yeah, if I can share in 30 seconds, I think AI, as it is a hot button now, AI is super automation. I mean, in reality, it is just crazy complex, amazing automation we've had for a long time. Because you asked her what is, in the next 5 years, I don't think AI is actually the question we need to be talking about, or the topic. I think it's quantum. And so as I'm not an expert on quantum, I have surrounded myself with people that are. And that, I think, is where we're going to bring in a whole new level of computing, and that databases being stolen now, access to stuff, things that are getting stolen now are being cached away, because once the quantum hits, China was just saying that they broke RSA. Now, of course, it wasn't a high level of RSA, but it's a step forward. And once that happens, it unlocks it across the board. It's a whole new story, a whole new field. And that's, I think, with the next 5 years, that's really the catastrophe that the world will face.
Jesse, what if we had one single database in the world for everything?
Okay, so
Oh yeah, I'd rather not comment there. I have thoughts.
So I'll wrap this up. First of all, I want to say to everybody, thank you so much, for coming on this discussion and sharing your ideas. And I think to come back, down from quantum computing and the terrible threat of AI and resources running out, and all of us coming back to the Stone Age. I think we all can agree that, and hopefully the MSPs watching, the people in the industry watching, at least got something actionable out of it. And at least I think the principle of approaching problems from a layered perspective is that core principle that's going to be, it's going to apply now. It's going to probably apply in 5 years. But thank you for listening. It's been great. And yeah, see you next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.